Welcome to an incomplete guide to personal growth. We invite you to take a breath and take a listen to our podcast that explores the wonder, humor, challenges, and sometimes those self-inflicted wounds on the journey of personal growth.
Our weekly podcast conversations include stories, resources, and tools that you can incorporate into your daily life. We're the mother-daughter duo of Sydney West
and Kelly Arundel.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Sydney.
So I have a question.
Yeah?
So this new year, what? I haven't even asked it yet.
I know.
Okay.
That scares me.
Oh, man. So this, and the new year comes. I'm sure that this is January, if not like February. It's close. Yeah. And I see people on Facebook, and they're either showing like how they completed this reading challenge for the year or what their next one for next year is going to be. And I read quite a few books. Mm-hmm. I've got a book club with one of my friends.
Yeah.
And we kind of go back and forth and read. But I just feel like if I were to do that, it'd like take no fun. I would not have any fun. Because then I'd be like, oh, I got to read it.
Because it's a challenge versus just I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm just reading to read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just don't think I could ever do
I
one
know.
of those book challenges, right?
I did too, and I thought one person I saw, I was like, that's a couple books a week.
I know.
And
I don't have that time.
I love to read.
But
I don't know that,
No.
I don't know.
And some people like 100 books.
And then I'm not trying to judge, it's like, oh.
No.
But then I judge myself, and it's like, oh my gosh, well, Kelly, I thought you read, but you don't.
No, I know.
So I don't
That's how
know.
I feel too.
I don't know about that. I just, if it was a challenge, then I'd feel
like I have to.
differently.
And they do it for, kids do it over the summer, but I feel like that's different because they're trying to teach them.
I was wondering if like the books I read Charles would count because I could read a lot.
Yeah, and the same book like 20 times. Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. But I was just thinking, about it. I was scrolling, I was thinking about that. And I know you like to read, so I have to see what you thought about it.
I just don't, I don't know.
I don't think I could do it.
It's kind of like I don't run for a challenge. I run for the fun.
Right, yeah.
And so I think that kind of...
Yeah.
But, again, that's my personality. Let's not put too much pressure on myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So.
Well, if you're doing a book challenge, good for you. I hope it works for you. It just does not. I don't think it doesn't work for us.
Yeah. Put the pressure on.
Yes. And then, the other thing I want to hit on before we dive into this week's topic is that last week's challenge of how we limit ourselves and trying to figure out and think about how we limit ourselves. Yeah. I have my answer, if I'm okay to start.
Go ahead.
So I think I limit myself in my ability to take action, if that makes sense. So, because like last week, I even said this. I was like, I'm kind of in my research mode. I don't always like do things. But then I was like, well, is that me limiting myself? Yeah. And I probably think too big whenever I think of what I need to do to like grow, personally and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it can be like a smaller action, like once a day, something, maybe I didn't get irritated as fast. Maybe I didn't. Yeah. Maybe I thought of somebody else's perspective for a second. Maybe, it's like those types of things. And that is action. That's but action. I guess in my head, I think it needs to be bigger.
Big action. Yeah.
So I think that's how I'm.
That's something to think about. Yeah. I believe it or not, here I am speaking, but I limit my voice sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Because recently there's even something that went on, and I'm in a group, and I thought, well, nobody else has brought this up, so I don't think I should. And when I was talking to Lauren about it, she was like, I wouldn't have thought of that. I'm like, okay. Well, am I the only one that thinks of that, and that's okay to bring it up? But, it's those type of things that I question, and so I then limit. Yeah. Instead of trying to bring it up in a nice way.
Yeah. That's good. Yes.
Being aware.
So I hope you guys were able to kind of think of ways you're limiting yourselves. You can always comment and let us know. Share with each other. And so this week's topic, we kind of changed. I know we said a different one last week, but that's just going to be the flow of this podcast.
It's similar, but different.
It's similar. So we've gone with the idea of getting to know yourself. and how that's important to start your personal growth journey. And how do you do that?
You know what comes to mind? I hate to
What?
do this, but you know how I love musicals. So
Yes.
The King and I.
Oh my gosh, I
getting
thought the
to know
same.
you,
Literally,
getting to know all about you.
literally,
And
as I
it's
was
like,
prepping for this, I was like thinking of that exact same song.
that's it.
Yes.
I love it. But
and I have it in my notes.
Do you?
I have it, Getting to Know You song.
Yes, because it's getting to, and if you apply that to yourself,
Oh, if you have not
can't
seen.
dance or sing like her,
No,
but I can
but-
pretend.
Yes.
I like to.
It's so
Yes.
funny. I thought the same thing. So my first question is, why should we get to know ourselves? And like, I guess the concept of, well, don't I already know myself? I have my own mind. I know what's in my mind, but like, yeah.
Yeah, that. I think there's two lines. We know ourselves,
Yeah.
but sometimes we don't, or we're not aware, or we want to ignore because that's easier to do.
Yeah.
Getting to know how I react and fessing up to that, or because I'm trying to think, if I know, do I know my natural inclinations? And I can't use, well, that's the way I am as an excuse, because I can hurt a lot of people doing that. So I think about, do I shut down? Am I aware of when I'm shutting down, when I'm shutting others out, when I'm withdrawing, when I'm jumping into action that isn't my action to take? That's getting to know me. And that's not always fun. It's not like the song that makes you feel all happy, getting to know me.
Yeah.
But it is, that's getting to know myself.
Yeah. And then that helps with your reactions with
Yeah.
others and to yourself probably too. Like your
Yes.
inner monologue.
Why do I not like going to huge parties?
Yeah.
Why am I comfortable in a small niche? Why do I love going to big parties and hate small? I mean, it's just getting to know that, so I know why I'm uncomfortable. Doesn't mean I don't get to be uncomfortable sometimes. But
So what are ways, like, either in the moment, or I guess would it take some reflection afterward of like, how do we get to know our own habits?
yeah,
Because I think it's like, you can say, oh, well, you need, you can realize this but like I guess I almost have to do it by reflection.
Yes,
like I have to
most
think,
often.
I didn't like how that situation turned out.
Yes.
What was I feeling? And do that. I don't know if I could ever be like, this is my habit in the moment.
I think once we recognize them, we can catch ourselves in that.
Yeah.
In the moments, maybe and stop them, maybe and slow them down, maybe and go, well, I recognize that 5 minutes after instead of 2 days when somebody's really been mad at me for 2 days about something.
Yeah.
I think every time, this is my thing about habits. Well, what is my crutch?
Yeah.
I can ignore life for a long time reading, binge watching. For some, those are some of mine. Am I drinking? Am I shutting down? What am I doing to ignore the world?
Yeah.
That, what, that, the other thing about the habits, I think of driving a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because you hear people all the time gripe about every other driver.
Yes.
Well, if I'm always griping about every other driver, I need to stop and look at myself.
Maybe it's you, yeah.
And that goes with anything. When I'm complaining all the time, I need to stop. The answers are usually within ourselves. I can change the way I react. I live in a world with other people.
Yeah.
If I was a hermit out in the desert, I guess I could only gripe at the coyotes or the lizards or something. But I live in a community of other people.
Yeah.
Some I never will know, but I'm driving on the road with other people. I'm at the grocery store with other people. I'm walking on the street. Whatever I'm doing,
It's with others.
it is this other world. So if I'm always blaming and pointing the finger elsewhere, then that's a strong signal to me that it's not about them. It's about me.
Yeah.
Do I leave too late? Do I drive too fast?
Yeah.
Whatever it may be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Usually it points back at me.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, if you're complaining too much.
If you're looking out there for the answer to change, it's not going to happen.
Right. Right. It's got to come from
Well, those
within.
people irritate me, so I just have to drink.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can calm down. Okay, well, that's something to think about.
Yeah.
You know, whatever the habit it may
Yeah,
be.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of them out there.
There's a lot. Yeah.
So does that make
Yeah,
sense?
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that does.
The other thing about is making excuses. This is a sermon, and this is the only thing I remember of it, and it was probably 30 years ago, at least. The pastor had said something about the difference between excuses and reasons. Don't give excuses. You're just making stuff up to make yourself feel better. The reason is I was lazy. The reason is I've had too much to do and I'm on overload and I need to stop for a bit.
Yeah.
It's not, well, I can't because I might have to do, you know, there's a difference if you think about it for yourself.
Between excuses and a reason.
Excuses and reasons.
Yeah.
And those play into habits, I think, too, for some reason.
Yeah, I think, I think so, too. Yeah, because if I think...
Say more, yeah.
Yeah, because if you have a habit of, feeling busy or overwhelmed all the time, it's like, well, the reason is probably you're not saying no to things that need to say no to. And the excuse is not that, you know, you feel like you have to do it or other people are asking too much.
Yeah. Well, they asked, so I have to say yes. I'm
like,
sorry
no.
I have to ignore my family, but they asked.
It's like, no.
No, the reason is that was more appealing.
To you
Or
than...
they made you feel more guilty than your family will.
Yeah.
Or whatever it may be. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm making stuff up. But, yeah.
They're good. They're good examples. Yeah. And then, okay, I think in this, because it takes, like we talked, it takes some reflection on what your habits are. So,
It does.
And I feel like also to get to know yourself, you have to be with yourself. So what are ways that we can feel okay with being alone? Because I feel like that's so rare. I mean, and I even think my example with that is, and you know this, in college. Oh my God, it was awful. My freshman year, I was like, well, I can't miss out on anything. And I was not like a super social butterfly in high school, but I was like, well, I want to like, you know, meet people, experience college, do all that. And it just got to a point where like I'd sit in my dorm room or I'd sit somewhere by myself and I'd be like, but I should be doing something or I should be somewhere else or I should be with people. Like this feels really, it just started to really feel weird to be alone, which I'd never happened to me before. Yeah. And so you told me, you're like, well, go eat dinner go out to dinner by yourself. Go do this, like just make intentional time to be by yourself. Yeah. And then I did. And then it was much better. Like that was my first, by the second semester, I kind of gotten it under control. But that first semester is just, and they push you too, you know.
To go out and meet because you don't want to be.
You should, but then there's a limit. And so that's my experience with having to learn to be alone.
I think, yes.
Yeah.
And there's, when you, alone and by myself and with myself are two different things. I can be alone in a crowd.
Yeah.
I can be alone and ignore myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because
yeah,
I
with
don't
all our
want to deal
distractions
with
and
anything.
stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Or I can be by myself, be with myself.
Yeah.
And go, and I think part of that is society and even some religions come at us from we are bad.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I think we're all, everyone, even the people that I would go, are good first.
Good.
Yeah. The rest of stuff comes later.
Yeah.
But we are good and we're lovable.
Mm-hmm.
And, God, there was a book. I had to find that. When y'all were little about I am lovable and capable.
That's
good
cool.
book if you find that. I'm lovable and capable
tell us.
of being loved. It's really good. But anyway, there's to be with ourselves and find the beauty, the good parts of us.
Yeah.
And whether anybody else thinks so or not.
Yeah.
You know I'm downright goofy, and I've come to love that.
Yeah. And I think like you have to start with setting intentional time. And it can be like I did something. Yes. Like you can, go to dinner and just sit there and people watch, but you're still with yourself. Just finding those intentional ways.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's scripture that verses this, but I was reading something in the Tao this morning that said, and I love this verse. It talks about, I won't quote it, but the most important part of a wheel, if you think of a wagon or you think of a bicycle, is the hub where all the spokes come, and that's empty. And the only that's used is that it's empty. If it was full, the spokes could not fit in. A room is useless if there's not space to go into it. A pitcher that you're going to pour juice from, if it's or put juice in, if it's full or if it's not an empty vessel, it's useless. So we have to create a space for ourselves. And if we are so busy, intentionally making ourselves busy so that we don't sit in the quiet or with music, whatever it may be, or running or walking, whatever that is, with ourselves and create a space, we can't do anything with it.
Yeah.
So we can't get to know ourselves because I haven't created space for myself.
Yeah. That's a good image.
Yeah. So and I think of that. We have to create space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Definitely.
We do that for other things.
Yeah. And so we should for ourselves. Yeah. Yeah. And I guess the other thing with this is so you're alone. How do we not start to move into just beating ourselves up all the time? Because I feel like it can quickly, like if you're not careful, get into that. And I feel like too, I mean, society tells us, you have to fix this, and fix everything about yourself. But like, how do you look at yourself and reflect, but not like start to just harp on yourself all the time?
Oh, yes. And if we can get away from, I don't need to fix me. Mm-hmm. I need to become me.
Oh, I like that.
And I'm not going to look or act or do like other people because I'm me.
Yeah.
And society will say I need to do liposuction or something. But I don't want to. Yeah. If somebody does, that's okay on them.
Yeah.
But that's not who I am.
Yeah.
Or who and so whatever that is, it's being compassionate. And here's a book, and we'll talk, it'll be on our link. Yeah. It's called Self-Compassion. And it's by Kristen Neff. I don't know if she's still at University of Texas in Austin or not, but she was. And it's a wonderful book about being gentle with ourselves. And society may beat us down. I don't know why we like to do that to others. And I caught myself doing it recently. But it's being gentle with ourselves and going, we are good first. I don't have to fix anything. I may want to change something, but it's for me.
Yeah.
I don't like being so critical. So how would I like to change that? Yeah. And the words we used, instead of when I may not like everything I do, so instead of beating myself up, oh, Kelly, you're such an idiot. Why do you do that all the time? I can stop and say, I wish I hadn't done that or said that. I hope I can do different next time. Yeah. Okay, well, if you hope to do different, what might you do? Yeah. And there's a gentleness about that.
Yeah. Almost more of a conversation.
Yes. And yourself. So when those other messages come in, to change them, and I'll give you one. I was thinking about this. The messages that we receive from others can be stronger than ours, and that's frustrating. Yeah. So when I was growing up, I spilled things all the time. And I probably broke a lot of things. And, it'd be my turn to pour the milk at dinner. And those big old gallon jugs, and I would just be doing it, and they'd get everywhere. And why? Because nobody said, Kelly, if you hold it with two hands, nobody, or anything else. All they did, anytime something happened like that, they'd start saying, oh, that's a Kelly. Oh. Well, they thought it was funny, and that came from a different place. Yeah. It wasn't funny to me. Yeah. And as an adult, it took me till I was an adult to go, you're more than that. Yeah. And you can change that message. And if you're in a hurry and you spill something, that's why we have paper towels, dish rags, and other things. Yes. So we use them. Yeah. And if you do, Kelly, if you don't want to spill as much, Kelly, you might slow down a little bit. And you do spill less. So you can change things. Yeah. It's not fixing me. Yeah. It's changing. And it's being gentle. And now I have a different message. And I distinctly remember when you and Lauren were growing up and you'd spill, all I'd say, whether you get something on your shirt, that's what a washing machine's for. Let's move on. Yeah.
The only thing that made you mad was when I'd spill something and I just look at
it. Oh, yeah, that's you and the whole family. It was like, look, I spilled. Let's watch it run off the table. And like
I have
I'm
no
the only
clue
one
why.
that can get up and do that.
I have no clue.
Oh, the whole. I don't.
I
know
really
what that
don't know
was.
why we did that.
But yeah.
But no, yes, you can. Yes,
But it was
I definitely
so.
remember.
So that's a
You
small
always said
thing.
that.
But as an adult, that was a self-growth area for me.
Yeah.
Because I changed that message.
Right.
I don't have to degrade myself
Yeah.
when I spill something.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody does. The language we use is so important to when we, quote, mess up, because we will. When I do something and I reflect and go, you probably shouldn't have said that at that moment. Okay, well, I can say something.
Yeah.
I can do it later. I can do, but I don't have to beat myself up about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be kinder.
So that's how I think we change it
Yeah.
to not beating ourselves up. I don't believe in that.
No. So, some of the stuff we've talked about today, just to recap a bit, and you can always add stuff on. So, we need to get to know ourselves. Well, what did you say to that? I can't remember. That's why I recap.
That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
No, we need to get to know ourselves so that we can, when we know ourselves, I think we become more compassionate.
Yeah.
Because we see the good in us. We don't forget society's lenses. Look at us through gentle lenses of ourselves. If you have a higher God, if you have a God or a higher power or whoever that creator may be for you.
Yeah.
You're created out of love.
Yeah.
There's a love within
There's a love there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
We're good first.
Yeah. And then we can take note of habits kind of in reflection a lot of the time and then eventually get a little quicker at recognizing, what we need to work on. And then it's okay to be alone. You can set this intentional time. We talked about the
Creating
hub
space.
and you have the spokes. You have to have the space so then you can fill it with good things.
Yep.
And then you don't need to beat yourself up to do that.
No.
You can have a conversation. Be kind with yourself. Yeah.
And for this week, again, I'm gonna
Yeah.
say
So
this
is
book is
our
called,
kind of our resource for the week.
It's
or book
called
for the week.
Self-Compassion by Kristen Neff, Neff. And it was really helpful to me, and we'll have it on our link.
Yeah.
The other thing that you might think about for this week is what is the message, you can call it message, mantra, whatever, that you want to carry with you for the week, that you need. Sometimes mine is, I want to feel peace.
Yeah.
I need to be peace. I'm wanting peacefulness. Or I am enough. I have a voice. Whatever it is where you're coming from, carry that with you. And the more you repeat it, the more it'll pop up when you need it.
Yes. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
So if you think of a mantra, feel free to let us know for next week. And you can do so. We've got our Instagram account. You can also email us at incompleteguide@gmail.com. We have our website at incompleteguide.com. And please rate and review this podcast. It really helps us. And we just hope that we're able to continue to give you tools. And as you can see, sometimes topics might shift a little bit each week. But yeah, it's just kind of the flow of how I think we're getting into it. Cool. And next week, we're going to talk about what to do with mistakes. So we almost kind of touched a little bit on that, kind of at the end on how to not beat yourself up over things. Yeah. And so it's like, how do we handle, what do we do with mistakes? Yeah. So we invite you to take a breath and take a listen with us next Tuesday. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of An Incomplete Guide to Personal Growth. There are many ways you can stay connected. Follow us on Instagram at An Incomplete Guide Podcast, where you can sign up for our email list and get posts that delve deeper into our weekly topics. Make sure to subscribe to our podcast page wherever you listen to your podcasts. We would really appreciate a rating and sharing us with your family and friends.
We're so glad you chose to spend your time with us and hope there was a thought, a resource, or a laugh that you can take on your journey. We'll be here every Tuesday for you to take a breath and take a listen.